Hello, this is Professor Kim Nelson with the Jewelry Design Department at the Fashion Institute of Technology. This tutorial is for JD 139 Ideation 1, working on the drafting module. This is continuing our sketching, our technical study of a transparent or glass tapered band. Picking up where we left off, we have established the width of our this section here. Let's actually give this section a name, a letter. We'll call it section A. And likewise up here. Okay, and once we get it filled in, I'll put it here. All right, so we've gotten the width from here okay. So that's just showing you that I'm reestablishing that this is the back, this is the front, back, front. Okay, I'll go ahead and leave it in the light blue for now. I need to bring that same information up and around from the side view. This establishes one set of dimensions. The second set of dimensions, how wide this box is. Oops, sorry, excuse me. Over here we need to bring up, and there are actually 4 points to be considered. There's a point here, there's a point here, point here, and a point here, because this cross-section is tapered. This cross-section was tapered as well, but it is not as relevant to what we're doing. We will address that a little bit later, but this is tapered enough that we want to carry that information around. I'm going to bring back my grid. And I'm going to start with the widest dimension. Hang on. I have the, by default, it has the grid with a snap, and I don't want a snap. Okay. So, again. Here, straight up, and it's just to the left there of that grid line, which makes it just below this grid line. And I'll only bring it back to the distance that I need it, which is actually right where it meets this line. Like so. Okay. Now I can figure this out on the other side just by eye. I'm sketching this. I don't need to use my drawing tool again. It will be just on the far side, since it's on just below this grid line here. It'll be just above this grid line above, right there. So now I want to bring around the dimension for the bottom of the taper. Pull that straight up. This is why I made this drawing 3:1 scale, guys, because actual size, it would be hard to even see this. And this ends up being just a little bit beyond that grid line. And once again, I can estimate that on the other side, right here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and erase this section here, just so it's clear when I draw my finished cross-section from the top view what it is I'm looking at exactly. I'm going to zoom in. You're just going to sharpen your pencils at home. Oh. I had that brush stroke set to white again. To this mark, back out to that mark, and then the top line is already in place. So erasing the construction lines. Now you can see it's a little bit asymmetrical. I'm sketching, I'm not in Rhino, so I don't have the exact amount of control that I might like in Rhino to do something like this. I can clean it up a little bit. That's good enough. And then so that this is apparent as a separate separate section, once again I will put in hatch lines. You don't have to put in hatch lines in your work. I'm doing it so it's easier for you to tell where I've been. Okay? So, this is also section A. Section A, section A, section A. The first of only two sections that we have to draw using this method where we chart the cross section. The other one, wow, when I drew that I was in a hurry, is down here near the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and plot it. Starting once again with my overall width from the top view, projecting up from the front. So I'll take the inside dimension first, and I'll pull that straight up. And it's falling just inside that box. Do the same thing for the outside. And that is less than half the way up that grid in my drawing. Okay? So I've plotted it from the front view. Now I'm going to plot it from the side. I am once again going to take the widest dimension. Now it's important here to realize what you're drawing when you do this. I'll write that bigger. This line in your front view is the outer surface. This line in your drawing is the ring bore. Okay? Where these are reverse when you come up to this side. show you what I mean. Ring bore, outer surface. Above the mid side of the ring, the outer surface is going to be your wider dimension of your taper, okay? It's going to be the one that falls farthest away from the center line of your ring. It's what's intuitive. This makes sense. This feels right. When you get to the bottom, zoom out a little bit. When you get to the bottom, when I bring this wider dimension up and around, okay, I'm going to remember this visual width. That's what I want to see going up. When I bring this in, the surface is now the outermost surface can get flipped around. Let's see if it has. Yeah, it has. Because the taper of the ring does it. The widest part, when you go below the half point of the ring, is no longer on the outer surface. The wider point is on the ring bore. That's going to be a little confusing. And I got that a little bit off. I'm just going to correct it by freehand. See how I have this thickness, it got a little wider here. I'll draw a little indication line to where it should be. And erase this away anyway. Okay. This is the wider line on this section. That wider line, if you trace it back, is actually on the ring bore. It's on the inside surface, or the inside of the ring. The narrower is on the outside. Above the half point, midpoint of the ring, the narrower dimension is actually going to be on the inside of the ring, on the bore, and the wider dimension is going to be on the outer surface. And that's just because of the nature of the taper. Once it gets to here and it starts coming the other way, the taper, in effect, changes which side of the ring is going to be wider, which surface of the ring. So just remember, it's going to seem counterintuitive, but you're not crazy. If you follow what I'm doing, you'll be fine. Going to go with the narrower dimension, which is now on the outer surface of the ring. Pull that straight up. And you can see this becomes a very narrow dimension. Okay? I'm not even going to bother drawing that over. I don't need to. I can eyeball it. This is basically splitting this distance. It got a little slanted as it came up here, but it's basically splitting this. So if I come here and I split this distance, that's going to be about right. And that's all I need. Yeah. So I'm going to come here and do the same measurement off the other side using my grid. Your grid will be different once again because it's not going to, you're not on a computer. Your grid size can be different in the pad you bought. You're going to use whatever relationship exists with the grid you have. But in my grid, it's like this and about twice that distance over here. Okay? And these are short enough lines that I can freehand them. And I will go ahead and put slashes on mine so that it's easy for you to understand. Okay, so there's my cross section, and we're going to call that cross section B. Okay. Now, the other dimensions that we have that we are going to want to bring in, yes, I pointed out there's a taper on the top. We're not going to worry about that just yet. There's also a taper on the bottom. I'm going to draw the outer surface first. Okay, so I am going to want to know what that taper is at on the bottom, and we know we can just look at it. I don't have to draw any lines at all. It's 2 squares. It's right here. Pick a color to draw this in. I'll just go with black. Very dark gray. So it's here. It's just one block each side on my grid. Your grid, once again, may vary. So, and the first point is here. So, to draw the outer curve, I'm going to start here. This is the top view. And I need it to come through, and I need it to catch here next, which is here. Then it's going to go from here to here, and then it comes to the narrower dimension, because remember, below the halfway point of the ring on the outer surface is actually the narrower part of the taper. So I'm going to draw this freehand. I'm going to bring it up through here. It's going to create a portion of an ellipse, and this is probably the most important thing to get right, is this sense of an ellipse right here. And it starts here. Oh, hang on. That's crazy. It's 1 square each side. It starts from here. My bad. Sorry. Apologies to those of you watching at home. I'm thinking this is a square because it's early in the morning and I'm tired. It actually starts from here. That makes much better sense. Comes from here. Goes through there. This is straight-sided. Remember, this is a straight-on section, so it doesn't have any taper. It's the only one that doesn't. Go to here. Come back around. And join here. Clean my line up a little bit. Okay, there's that line. Now I want to draw the inside of the ring bore. To do that, my first point is going to be here. Now I can draw this up and around, or I can just see how far from the center line it is. It's 1 block, 2 blocks, and almost a half. So 1 block, 2 blocks, almost a half. So it's actually, for all intents and purposes, it's about the same place. It's right there. Okay, then I'm going to go through the inside of this section, which is right here. So that will come something like that. It's going to make a turn, an ellipse here. It's going to catch the wider dimension of section B. And then down here, on the inside of the ring where this is wider on this tapered section, it's going to be just outside of that second box. So that main box. So we're going to go one box and just a little outside of it, like that. Okay, and that's the line we're looking for. Now I'm on a computer, so I have access to some things that you don't. You will need to plot this and draw this, and to do it by eye, I mean, you would just use the same grid method we've been doing. But in the interest of video tutorial time, I can just mirror it. And mirror it again. Like so. Okay? Okay? And then I can clean this up more. But you get the idea. At this point, the cross sections are not as important to me. So I can erase them. I want you to leave yours. Repeat, I want you to leave your cross sections so I can see them. And you're going to draw them on both sides, or draw them all on one side and use the grid to guide you drawing the other side. I want you to leave the cross sections for me as much as you can. I want you to do this as well as you can. And I want you to do this as quickly as you can. So if you can do it by just looking at the grid to draw the other side, charting some points over visually by eye, and then doing it, then that's what I want you to do. Because the whole point of doing this without using Rhino or a real drafting setup is that it's quicker, and you can get pretty much the same result in less time, which is a good thing. Everybody likes quicker, similar results. I can keep working on this, but you get the idea. That is a finished ring for our purposes. Okay, that will certainly do. And that would be complete. Okay, and that allows us to have a see-through tapered band ring accurately drawn in a sketching format without a lot of use of serious drafting tools or a CAD program like Rhino. Okay, thanks so much for watching.